Welcome to Astrodology, the podcast that brings you knowledge, wisdom, and principles that can help you find the peace and comfort we all seek and deserve in our lives. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Astrodology with Astrid. I hope you're well and I hope you're doing good. As we're moving further down this year of 2024, this is the time of year where we start to assess how things have been going so far. So in one of my episodes prior, I said, it's time to spring forward. It's time to emerge and really dive and jump into spring. But in order to do that, there may be something holding you back. So the topic of this discussion is, what's holding you back? Chances are what is holding you back is fear. Fear manifests itself in many different forms. One thing that is for sure, it cannot exist if its opposite is present. You cannot have it both ways in life. I guarantee you that it is the opposite feeling or energy of what you want that is keeping you from what it is that you do want. Abraham Hicks says it best: contrast, difficult or upsetting things, thoughts are good because they allow you to figure out what it is that you truly want. It is from your place of wanting that aligns with you, with your true heart's desires. Welcome the contrast when it happens, trusting that it is there as a guide to get you or help you stay focused on what it is that you are really wanting. Here is a list of common emotional states of being that can hold us back. A list of common emotional states of being that can hold us back. Loving or fearing, loving or hating, building or destroying, owning or blaming, accepting or declining, admitting or denying, for or against, faith or doubt, trust or worry, clear or uncertain, boundless or limited, grateful or thankless, in the present or in the past. So the theory is, at any given time, we are in either pole. It's like if you took a line down the middle of our humanness, one side is going to be positive, one side is going to lean towards the negative. And at any given moment, we're in one of these sides. Are we loving or fearing? Are we building or destroying? It would be unrealistic to think that we should never feel the opposite emotion or mental states of that which is positive. It is perfectly natural for us to radiate from negative states. Pushing less than stellar states away, ignoring them, and pretending only makes them grow in intensity. It can actually be more detrimental in saying positive mantras or words when you don't actually feel or believe them. Now, I've always struggled with this because there's the term fake it till you make it. And I do believe in repetition, that if you almost just overwhelm the negative mind with positivity, eventually it has the term. In yoga and meditation, we believe that there is space gets created. So as you're trying to create new habits, you create space in your mind. But if we don't fill it up with positive energy or statements, our old habits jump right back in and fill that space. So this is where mantra becomes very important in a yoga practice. Even saying the mantra Om can help to hold and fill that gap as you're moving forward and making things. Wallowing in disappointment, hurt, shame, or worry are states that we need to oftentimes go through just for a bit of time to get back to the other side. It may mean only a few hours or days versus resisting the feeling and letting it take root and keep growing for weeks, months, and for some people, even years. I laugh out loud sometimes remembering how many times people say or feel they are totally in control of their lives. Great! When challenges or upsets arise, how about feeling them to the full depth of the sensation and take control of feelings and the anguish? This keeps you in control of what is happening. Then it becomes not what is happening to you, but what you are allowing to happen. And it is in the allowing that the release of it will come faster. It is the allowing it that the release of it will come faster. Wisdom lives in your heart, lives in our hearts, and our heart's energy has its own brain that lives throughout our entire body. So unlike the mind that lives in the brain, our heart energy lives throughout our entire body. I mean, literally on a visceral level, the heart center has to pump and pulse blood throughout the body. So we often hear people say to do what you love and you will be happy. The reason that there is happiness from doing what you are loving is because the heart is the place where we connect to our deepest truths. Let me repeat that. The heart is the place where we connect to our deepest truths. So for those on a spiritual path, our work is to find who we are, what we are here to do, and become the best version of that person as we can. As Don Miguel Ruiz says, sometimes our best is determined by our circumstances, but at any time, no matter the situation, there is still a best that can be acted upon. I present to you today an excerpt from Judy Krishnamurti. His work was a cornerstone and a pillar of the works that helped me as I was starting my spiritual journey, and especially as a yoga teacher. I resonated with his words because his driving mission was to help man become free. This four-letter word free appeared across the screen in my brain in bold white letters, and it was against a black screen during a meditation when I was on the precipice of a major life decision and asking, crying, pleading, and begging for guidance. It was my yoga asana meditation practice that provided me the groundwork of my freedom that eventually unfolded. So here's Jiddu Krishnamurti's statement. To live is to find out for yourself what is true, and you can do this only when there is freedom, when there is continuous revolution inwardly within yourself. If one has fear, there can be no initiative in the creative sense of the word. To have initiative in this sense is to do something original, to do it with spontaneously, naturally, without being guided, forced, controlled. It is do something which you love to do. Tradition becomes our security, and when the mind is secure, it is in decay. All of us have been trained by education and environment to seek personal gain and security and to fight for ourselves. Though we cover it over with pleasant phrases, we have been educated for various professions within a system which is based on exploration and an acquisitive fear. You may be educated abroad, you may be a great scientist, politician, but you always have a sneaking fear that if you don't go to temples or do the ordinary things that you've been told to do, something evil might happen. So you conform. What happens to the mind that conforms? Investigate it, please. It is not important to find out how to listen, not only to what is being said, but to everything, to the noise in the streets, to the chatter of birds, to the noise of the train car, to the restless sea, to the voice of your husband, to your wife, to your friends, to the cry of a baby. If you have fear, you are bound by tradition. You follow some leader or guru. When you are bounded by tradition, you are afraid of your husband or your wife. You lose your dignity as a human individual being. Man has throughout the ages been seeking something beyond himself, beyond material welfare, something we call truth or God or reality, a timeless state, something that cannot be disturbed by circumstances, by thought, or by human corruption. So beautifully said. So I remember, I believe it was Joseph Campbell that says, follow your bliss. And that's another word for following your heart. And again, as Krishnamurti says, it's going to take some training and some time to unwrap ourselves from the hold of traditions that we were raised by well-meaning folks, just who were really concerned about our welfare and kind of locked us into these belief systems. And so most people say they want freedom, but we really don't know how to live it. And freedom begins with just listening to yourself and following your intuition. That is a first amazing steps towards intuition. Here's the quote from Joseph Campbell. Follow your bliss, and the universe will open doors where there were only walls. I love that. That's so beautiful. So, what is it that makes you happy? So stay with it no matter what other people tell you, no matter what you read or what you are seeing. Just like building muscles in the body for strength and flexibility, we have to have strength and create suppleness in our mental and emotional bodies by exercising, working them out, and trusting ourselves in every decision that is coming from our hearts. Rumi, the beautiful poet Rumi says, move, but don't move the way fear makes you move. Move, but don't move the way fear makes you move. And my beloved Dr. Wayne Dyer, you will see it when you believe it. You will see it when you will believe it. So I hope this was really helpful to help you start looking at what's holding you back. Is it the perceptions of what you think you ought to be doing? Is it a stronghold from your family and the expectations of society? The only way we're going to unwrap that is to have courage and have the strength to keep coming back to our own minds and our own hearts. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Astrology with Astrid. It means the world to me. I'm so grateful that you decided to tune in today. And please follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Kota Life Goddess. Kota Life Goddess, Kotalife Goddess. And also my YouTube channel where you can see live videos of me of the same name, Astrodology with Astrid. Namaste, everybody. With faith, I pray. I'll catch you in the next episode. Thank you again for tuning in. Namaste. Thank you for listening to Astrodology. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support the podcast, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends about it by sharing this program on social media. You can also follow me on Instagram at Kota Life Goddess or at KotaLife.com. Kota is C-O-T-A, Kota Life Goddess or KotaLife.com. Thank you again for listening to Astrodology, and I'll see you next time.